Well, I figured it was about time I did the park brake on the Series 1. Yeah, good old Jaguar. Because it was getting pretty feeble, i.e. not really doing anything. But I've got the park brake assemblies out of the rear, and we can all see that that pad's worn down flush with the metal there. That one's all good. And on the other side, it's missing a pad altogether, and this one's alright. So I'll just replace a few pads here and there and then put it back together. It's a real arsehole of a job in the end of it. Oh, we can see here that I've removed one of the pads. You can see one of them is just worn down to nothing. So that means it was not adjusted correctly to start with. But I found this nice new piece of asbestos on my shelves. So I'll just drop that in because the other one's fine. So I just replace one on this side. So just got that pin there. And usually they just slip in nice and easily. Usually. Yeah, there we go. And just tighten the nut on this side. And that's done. But now the adjustment's going to be really bad. So now I've got to adjust it by screwing this rod out. For getting it just perfect is a bit of a prick sometimes. You've got to try it a few times, put it on, take it off, put it on, take it off. Sometimes if you're lucky you can take this split pin out and adjust it in place with that screw, but sometimes you can't get to it. So it's fun. You'll see where these go and then you'll go, ah. Well, this is the return spring for these, which most people leave out or fuck up completely. This car only had one and this side was missing it, which is probably why this pad did what it did. So I've got a rear end sitting outside. It's got another one of these, so I'll steal one off that and I'll put it all together properly. And this is good, so you can set up on the bench about where this sits on the caliper and get it sort of adjusted by eye to go over the rotor before you actually get under there and start swearing at it. And these are automatic adjusting too, so if you get it too loose, you just sit there clicking it, you know, just apply it, let it go, apply it, let it go by hand with this until it gets to about the right tension when it's applied. So, because this one had just clicked itself all the way in until the pad wore down. You should never use these for braking, it's only for parking. It will not stop you. All it'll do is just tear the pad off, like that. So, that's one ready to go. I checked out inside there, it's got a bit of grease. So, needs a good clean out and a re-grease, but it's still clicking and working properly. I'll replace both of the pads in this one and set it all up, because one of them's alright but was worn on an angle. So you had one square and one worn. So, yeah, had 4 spare ones lying around and I've only got 1 spare one left. I'll probably just keep those 2 for emergencies. That's trash. That's trash. So, now the fun begins. Well, out here in the backyard, in the garden, I've got a spare rear end. And you can see the handbrake assembly here. This one has got spring on it, which someone has completely fucked up when they put it together. It's missing one pad. This side's also got the spring, which seems to be installed properly. But for some reason, they've put a pad in upside down on this side. It's missing one as well, and one's upside down. You can see it's chewed into the rotor. So, most people do fuck these up royally when they do them. Yeah, one of the pads on this is worn down to nothing as well. So this handbrake would have been utterly useless. Well, these are the pins that hold the handbrakes to the calipers. I always find it's a good idea to grind on the bench grinder just a little point onto the end there. Yeah, it's about there, and that helps locate them when you slide them in. Otherwise you might have a hard time getting these pins down. Absolute prick of a thing sometimes. So I get the grinder out and just grind them down nicely. Well, I ground a nice little tip onto the pins, go to the bust with the wire wheel. So I just lightly grease them and then put it all together. So that will make life a lot easier. Well, after a bit of fucking around, I got that in. I'm going to have to do the rear pad soon, but I'll deal with that later. Usually they're pretty easy. I might recurl the calipers though, so it means I have to pull all that off again. But they're on and set. I spin the wheel, they're free. And I don't know if I can do it one-handed, but I'll try and use my foot to spin the wheel. Hang on. Spin the wheel. You can pull on that. And locks it up. They're nicely adjusted and free again. A prick of a job. You can see where the bolts are at the top, where the fingers go in. I can't even see the camera. I think I got all that right. Can't even see what I did. Oh yeah, that looks good. Now for the other side. Fun. Well, I'm all done back here. I've put the return springs on both sides. I put the cable in, and I undid it at the front and pulled it through, so I got nice slack back here. And put the pin through, and that way I can adjust it properly up the front again. So now I'll just put it to the right adjustment and then put it back on. It's the quickest, easiest way to do it. And the way you adjust this, you take the pin out here for this, you undo the lock nut and you screw this out until it is about right. I've pulled the tension out of the cable. So just keep on screwing. Been done up pretty tight, but that's probably because it was missing one pad. Almost. Yeah, it's about right. Give one more turn just for the fun of it. Yeah, sure. I'll just put the pin back in and do it like that.